Hey guys, it's Clay from Clear Critique. A fifth Scream movie is in theaters, and it made me think about horror sequels in general. The ratio of good horror sequels, and honestly good sequels in general, to bad ones is pretty lopsided. But they are out there. The question is, are there any horror sequels that eclipse the original? Turns out, yes. And each one has one specific element in common. I think I've cracked the code on this. Here are my very quick thoughts on how to make a great horror sequel. If you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe, click the bell icon to get updates on new videos, and definitely comment with your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Here we go. Alright, so you made a horror movie and people are digging it, and now you're pondering a sequel, and you're a go-getter. You don't want it to just be successful, but to be even better than the original. You have the core aspects at your disposal: characters, monsters, designs, and the ball is in your court. So, what do? Something completely different. Every horror sequel I've seen that improved upon the original didn't simply try to do the same thing, but in fact change things up in a major way. A lot of the time this was done by simply switching up or including different genres. Think about it. Evil Dead 2 took really low budget horror and spun it into horror comedy, which gave them the freedom to play with their practical effects rather than struggle through its inherent cheesiness. There's Exorcist 3, which isn't as good as the first Exorcist, but much better than the second. And it did this by taking the demonic possession concept and turned it into a crime film, complete with scene investigations and interviews. Some of the scariest parts of the film are directly in the crime element. Let's not forget Aliens, which is probably the highest regarded horror sequel that is essentially an action film. Gunfire, explosions, a desperate holdout for survival at the end, and includes one of the greatest character arcs maybe in film history. I go back and forth, but I think there is enough evidence to argue that Aliens is superior, and that if it tried to simply recapture the first film, it would not have nearly been as noteworthy. I would even argue that Leprechaun Back to the Hood is better than Leprechaun 1. I'm being dead serious because it's so ridiculous, so over the top, it's at least fun. While the original, I'm telling you guys, I know it has like a cult status, but if you rewatch that movie, it is horrendous. It is so boring and mismanaged. It's not just about changing genres. Final Destination 2 and 3, while featuring the same concept, made major changes to the investigation process, the nature of the deaths, which were like a lot less realistic and had more of a spiritual angle to it, and the tones were very different. Friday the 13th Part 2, which is, I think, the best in the entire series, had a completely different villain, and is much better off for it. On the flip side, you have sequels and prequels that do nothing but wallow in the franchise, and at best, they're forgettable, and at worst, they, well, suck. Watch them again. You may be surprised how lame some of the Halloween entries are, how stupid Chucky gets, and just how glacially New Nightmare moves. Well, aside from that one scene so hilariously terrible, I use it every chance I get. I do want to clarify, not every horror sequel that experiments automatically bests the original, but I am saying that it's always the right call. The 2011 prequel to The Thing never should have been made. Its focus on CGI was a cataclysmically atrocious call. The product just pales in comparison to the 1982 version in every way. However, I believe that it would have been so much worse if it had tried to capture the same sense of paranoia and isolation. Instead, it purposefully becomes more of a high-energy creature feature chase slaughter fest, and this made it at least watchable, offering a different experience than simply being a worse version of the original. Bottom line, you're not going to scare us by doing the same thing as before. I have yet to see a horror film that's the scariest in the third act because the mystery, the suspense, it's gone. A sequel that tries to repeat rather than innovate is like a fourth act. It's diminished returns. This is the issue with the Scream sequels thus far, and this will continue to plague horror sequels until studios wake up. Or they could, I don't know, focus less on milking IPs and drive for more original horror content. Just a thought. There's some good ones out there. It can happen. I love horror. I talk about it all the time on this channel. It's a unique movie watching experience, and nothing kills it like repetition. Yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say about horror sequels. Are there any that I missed that you think are better than the original? Did you see Scream 5? Do you know why the poster is so lame? Let me know all of this in the comments. I have lots of other horror stuff on my channel, so look in the playlists and check them out. And as always, thanks for watching.